the strangest feeling to know what to believe in. Cause every time you touch me, I can't control my body. Oh, baby, you are on my mind. All I think about, and I don't wanna stop.
From dating to relationships, from sex to love, from Christianity to politics, from darkness to light, you have now entered into the real zone. Welcome to Conversations with Trent, where no topic of conversation is safe from discussion. Now, here he is, Mr. Epic himself, Trent Williams.
What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome to another podcast with Conversation with Trent and Friends. We got the beautiful D, Coach Dee that is, in the back waiting. Actually, we got an email. We got to go in tonight. We got an email in from a viewer talking about 50-50 relationships. So we're going to go ahead and bring D and talk about it. So is it really a 50-50 relationship and household? Welcome to the B2G Unity TV, Butterfly Evolution, and Tillicking Media combined for better TV together. Let's talk about it. One sec. Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
Not too good today.
Oh, yeah.
I got these spasms going on, man. These sciatic nerves and all the spasms going on. But we're going to fight through it.
Okay.
We're going to fight through it. What's going on with you?
I am home sick, under quarantine. We have a house full of COVID plus. So if I'm coughing and blowing my nose, that's why. I have extra filters on so I don't look like death warmed over.
Oh, where's that light sound?
Yeah. But it's luckily I'm vaxxed and boosted, so it's not as bad as
Good
it
stuff.
could be. So
yeah, that thing is rearing its ugly head again because got a couple of calls from my brother saying some folks caught it on that end, and he's on his way back this way. I was like, catch you in a couple months, buddy.
Oh yeah,
So,
it is because people still not taking it serious, you know. But,
yeah, it's not good. Not good.
But I managed to avoid until now, so you know, we figure we probably got it from my son's school.
Good stuff. Well, before we start, let's say hi to the folks real quick before we get
Let me pull the comments
into
up.
it.
All right, and our favorite Martine is there. So peace and love, y'all. Peace and love to you.
What's up, Martine? Good stuff.
Yeah.
So, 50-50 relationships and households, right? Let's be honest and fair. Split means that each person gives the exact same amount of themselves fully. So we'll talk about the 50-50 relationship, healthy relationship that is, as we dig into this email that Dee received. So let's get it started. How did this come about to you?
Well, I guess it came from if you want to talk about something, send me an email. So this lady was telling me that prior to getting married, they'd agreed on 50-50. Everything be 50-50. So they split the bills 50-50. They both make similar amounts. One's a doctor, one's a lawyer. So they're not hurting for money.
Right.
So now they have kids. And the bills are 50-50. But that's it. So Miss Lady is very tired because she's got a lot going on. She's a doctor. She's got lots of kids. So she decided out of her money, she's going to hire a maid to come in.
Now, before you go on with that, when you told me that, I failed to ask you. Before she hired the maid, did she discuss it with him?
No, because it's coming out of her money.
Yeah, but still, come on now, D.
No. Remember, they said 50-50. They have they have 50-50 on regular bills. Then they each have their own accounts. He does whatever he wants with his own money. So she does whatever she wants with her money. So she decided with her money, she was going to get herself help around the house.
So you don't think that something should have been mentioned?
You mean like the 7 years she's been mentioning to him to help around the house and hasn't?
I'm just saying.
Well, sir, if you mention it for 7 years and it doesn't get done, and then she takes her money to hire a housekeeper to help her.
Okay, so my question is, does he have a problem with the housekeeper being in the house?
He has a problem with her paying for somebody to come in because she should be doing it herself. But he ain't helping.
Continue.
So Mr. Man ain't helping with any of the chores around the house. Ain't helping with any of the kid stuff. Because when he gets home from being a lawyer, he's tired and shouldn't have to do anything. So she said, okay, fine. This is what's going to happen. She hired her maid that comes in twice a week that takes care of all the heavy lifting. So she doesn't have to worry about grocery shopping. She doesn't have to do any laundry. Most of the rooms are so she just does minor pickup when she gets home and cooks for the kids and everybody.
So my question to you is, who do you think is actually lacking in the quality of the need for the relationship? Who's lacking in that?
He is, obviously. If the only contribution you're doing is 50% of the bills, that's not 50-50. If you've got kids you're not raising, she said he doesn't even know what doctor they go to.
Oh, wow. So he's not engaged at all?
No.
Okay, well, I see why she's sending a letter.
Yeah. So I told her, listen, you got to have a long talk to them, and I would suggest some marriage counseling because this is just going to end up with resentment and anger.
Right. Here's the thing, man. What bothers me with most people in relationships, and today, people want equal relationships, but when it comes down to actually being fully responsible for those things, they're pulling their hands away from the table, putting their hands in their pockets. Mm-hmm. I'm not talking about monetary stuff. Notice I said in the opening, fully of themselves, fully giving of themselves fully.
So Martine said, I don't mind 50-50. Slash has come in. Great. Grand Rising Melanated people. Greetings to
what up, Slash?
Mr. Epic. And Mr. Alvin has come in. Good evening, panel.
What up, Al?
Welcome, everybody. See, here's the problem. No relationship is ever going to be exactly 50-50.
I totally agree.
When you take the money out of it. Because there's going to be times where one person is going to be doing a little more. Maybe somebody's busier at work. So maybe one person's in school. There's always going to be a divide, but there's going to be compromise. Right? So if your 50-50 is monetary only and you don't do anything else, that's not 50-50.
So what would you say if I said, I don't even believe in 50-50 relationships. I believe in 100% partnerships.
Because nothing's ever 100%.
Meaning, give to your best of your ability. Not just saying.
Yeah, giving 100%. That's
Giving 100% to the best of your ability. Mm-hmm. That's, let me throw this 50 in and that's it. And I'm not just talking about monetary things and all that stuff. I'm talking about everything. I'm talking about healthy relationships.
Yeah, well, that's healthy relationships where people give everything of themselves to each other. And it's returned. But what most people talk about is 50-50 is only monetary.
Exactly.
And what's even worse is, and I see it among my ladies groups all the time, is wives are doing all of the mental and emotional labor with the children and the kids.
I get that. Now, the only thing I would say about this letter, right, is I understand her frustration with the guy and all that stuff, but somebody has to actually open up the lines of communication and sit down and talk. That should have been talked about the maid and all the stuff, person coming to help. So, that's what communication is breaking down.
Sir, there's been 7 years of talking about helping. After 7 years, I think she has the right to go out and get her own help. As there's a thing where no, because this is the thing. Men are like,
so they shouldn't even be married. Then if he's upset about getting the maid and on a person that whoever, I don't want to call him a maid, but why are they even married? They're not listening to one another.
No, he doesn't listen to her. That's the thing. So after she got through medical school, she put him through college, right? Oh. So they build together, right? Oh. So then the goal was so their kids can afford, so they can afford private school for the kids, all the great stuff, right?
Oh, she won up.
Yeah. Here's the thing. All the things that they agreed upon at the beginning, prior to getting married, he hasn't been fulfilling.
Okay.
Okay.
So what was your response to what was your suggestion? So I'm sure you gave her.
Yeah, I told her that they need to they need to sit down and have a hard, come to Jesus conversation. I called it.
Gotcha.
You're just going to have to lay it down on the line exactly why you're doing this, why you've done it, and what he has not been doing that he said he would do. And I said, and I would suggest that you either do couples counseling or individual counseling to figure out why he doesn't want to fulfill his portion of the relationship with raising his children alone. Like if you don't know your doctor's name, you're not present.
Yeah, you're not present.
Your kid's doctor's name.
So it sounds like to me that's a one-sided situation, and the whole weight is on her shoulders. They need conversation, man. They need a conversation.
All right, so let me go into the comments. Slash said good evening to Al. Martine said balance is what important. Slash says I'm a pass on a 50-50 relationship. A lawyer puts in 69 hours a week. Doesn't take 7 days to care for her home. So she brought in Rosa without love, honor, obey. Sands of time running out. No, sir, that's not what's happening at all. Miss Law Partner has her own law firm. She puts in 40 hours because she goes to her children's events. She's a very involved mother. She's a PTA mom, soccer mom, all that stuff. She is doing the parenting stuff and the business stuff. And
so she's the present parent.
Yeah, she's the present parent. She's doing what she needs to do. She brought in a housekeeper to help her so that she had more time for her children, so she could even more present.
Right.
Now, Mr.
It sounds like a simple solution, man. It sounds like a simple solution. Conversation.
And that's what I told her. I'm like, why he's mad about you spending your money? I said, have you taken him up about his golf trips?
Let me tell you something. It wouldn't have bothered me now one bit if you open up your eyes and say, hey, you know what? We need a housekeeper. Like, okay, cool, but I'm not about to do this right here. But I chip in a little bit, but yeah, if you want to pay for that, I'm not gonna push. I'm not gonna do no pushing. I won't do no pushing.
I don't know what the man's complaining about. It's not his money. It's not affecting him whatsoever, except that his clothes is clean, and his house is clean, and he doesn't have to do a thing. So, Martine says, right, he's not pressed at all. That's heavy on one heart and soul. Yeah.
It sounds like it's more. To me, it sounds like the issues are more than just the housekeeping.
It's very, and we've had this conversation before, that it's his level of maturity.
I got you.
You know what I mean? It's more. He once said that he expects his wife to treat him like his mother did.
Oh wow.
And I once told him that your mother treated you like that because you were a child.
I think I remember this couple you were talking about that.
Yeah. So they're not clients, so I didn't discuss it. But I'm just like, you know what? It's very much it's the old standby that if weaponizing competence is used, why I can't do this, why I can't do that.
Right. And
so I told her, you know what I mean? Why waste more breath and getting more frustration, more anger at you? And
yeah, that's unfortunate. They've been having issues for a minute. It's been about a year and a half now.
Yeah. But I told her, I said, you know what? If it makes you happy to get a housekeeper, get a housekeeper. Right. And you know what? She's got a housekeeper, so now she can go to more events. She can go to the nighttime recitals and stuff.
So he's not bringing in 50-50 or 100.
He's paying 50% of the bills. That's it.
I'm not talking about the money. I'm not talking about the money at all. It sounds like he's not even invested there. As far as emotionally vested, doing his fair share, things with the kids or anything like that.
No, he's just got she says all I am is eye candy. He goes to his office events and he's got the beautiful doctor on his arm. And she says, and that's what it feels like, that I'm just there to show off. Wow. And I said, well, ma'am, you and I both know what I'm going to say and where we think this is going to end. So you have to have the conversations.
Yeah, that's been a minute for them.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah. If your wife has been asking you for 7 years to help around the house and you're still not doing as little as taking out the garbage, then you're not respecting what she's asking you. You're not listening to her.
Right.
So.
Wow.
Let me get back to the comments. We have a new viewer. We have a Chantel Baham from Shalita, Georgia.
Is that right? Welcome, Chantel. Welcome.
Because I know down south, those town names are nothing like how they're spelled most of the time. So please excuse me if I mispronounce that.
Chantel, welcome. Thank you for tuning in.
And Martine says, so the wife mama's in tune. She has self-mastery indeed. They're not on the same page, and there's something they need to discuss. And he sounds a bit silly. Yeah,
again, that's a bigger issue than just.
Yeah. It's a huge issue.
That's a bigger issue.
But here's the thing: this whole 50-50 is very common. Like you talk to ladies group, and there's some men are not putting in the work when it comes to the parenting portion.
Thank you for saying so.
I said it because I knew you would be annoyed if I said men. But
good stuff. I mean, I totally agree with you, but when we approach these relationships, we tend to always base things on money, things, and all that stuff. But what about the healthiness within the relationship? Mm-hmm. I'm talking before the money comes into play, before the bank accounts, all that stuff. What are you building on?
Mm-hmm.
What are you building on? What type of conversation are you having with that potential partner?
Well, I think these days a lot of people are skipping the deep conversations. Like, how are we going to raise our children? What type of discipline are we going to discipline? What type of schools are we going to teach them religion? Are we going to church? Those are the deep questions that people don't talk about until
very deep and the most important.
It can show up. Okay.
This is where the foundation of your kids come out, man.
Yeah.
What's so funny? Teresa and I, we had that conversation before we even got married. We talked about the kid before the kid was here.
Mm-hmm.
And she's a well-rounded kid now, even through all of Teresa and I's turmoil. She's very well-rounded. She's being parented by both parents.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to Cornell.
Mm-hmm. That's the same thing with Xavier. Xavier's downstairs doing a scratch project for school from when he gets out of quarantine. All right, so Slash says, that's a lot of studying prior cases and caseloads, researching and dry cleaning and court dates. How many soccer, basketball, football, and recitals happen in a week? Yes, she sounds like a trophy wife. You'd be surprised how many events kids have in a week. And you got 3 kids in multiple things. Listen.
Yeah, it's a lot. 3 kids.
Martine sounds like he just wanted to get his career popping. Yeah. There's 3 sides to every story, and we know the example is never the rule. That's from Slash. And Martine says lots of guys feel that a woman will be glad that he comes home to her, and that's supposed to be the gift. Oh, Martine, you said that's a whole conversation right there. That statement, whole conversation. But it's true. It's true. Like, I was in a conversation with somebody. They sent me I made the mistake last Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Tell people to shoot their shot.
You definitely did. And you know what? I was so surprised when you said, I was like, I can't believe she's going there. They're going to light that up.
I wasn't thinking of me in particular.
They're going to light that up.
Thinking in general.
Exactly. Yeah, I was telling you and Shannon this all the time. Like, with this microphone weighs a whole bunch. It's a big weight behind that, man. And you'd be surprised who's listening. But go ahead, do tell.
So anyway, I've gotten quite a few messages. Some people have shot their shot, which is fine. It's not a problem. I don't mind when they're polite and use my name. So congrats to those who have been listening. But there's a couple who were just like, is that how you speak to women? Like, I got one who sent me a picture of himself in a place that I should never see without knowing my name. And so I sent it to his mother.
Welcome to the conversation.
Yeah. I sent it to his mother.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Never even said my name, never how you do, what you do, nothing like that. Not even a WYG, just a picture. And I was like, oh, this is how we're going to do that.
That's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Quite interesting. So you got to be careful when you're saying shoot your shot, because people could actually translate it into jump in my inbox. Send me a message.
Here's where it got the most interesting. So this topic of conversation of 50-50 came up again. And I was like, what are you so concerned about? Why 50-50? Didn't you just give me this whole speech about being an alpha male? If you're an alpha male, aren't you the provider? If you're the provider, why are we talking 50-50? And he's like, well, I'm like, sir, you can't have it both ways.
So let me ask you something. What's wrong with the 50-50? What would you say something? There's something wrong with the 50-50 relationship?
I don't. Monetarily wise, no. But the rest has to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, like just like you said in the opening, people confuse the 50-50 thing with monetary stuff and what you're giving. If you're giving $20, you got to be, I got to be giving.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If I'm giving 20, you got to give you a 20.
Mm.
Come on, man. I mean,
it gets very nitpicky.
Exactly. When you go to start placing numbers on that and whatnot. But I had a conversation about a few months ago with my good friend out of Atlanta. He and his wife, they're always going back and forth with numbers and all this stuff, kind of stuff. And her and her sorority sisters went to see Michelle Obama. And they were up in arms what Michelle said about, that numbers can always vary. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's going to be 70-30, 60-40, something like that. Depends on where that other partner's at in life.
Yeah.
But if you marry that person, this is what it is.
Yeah.
You made that decision.
Yeah.
This is what it is. I don't want to see in year 5 you complaining, okay, if it's not any progression, no progress or anything like that. Yeah, have a conversation about it at that point. But that stuff is off the table until things get better. Mm-hmm. You married that 60% or that 40%.
Yeah. Well, it's like I tell people, like, you give 100%, but your 100% may look different every time.
Thank you.
If you're married to somebody who is a PhD student who is doing research, their 100% maybe they cook twice a week, but they're studying their little butts off the rest of the time.
Yeah, I tell you, I'll give you guys a little. I get transparent for a minute. My ex-wife and I, right? When we entered the relationship, my bank account was a little heavier than hers. Mm-hmm. She was just coming out of school, student loans. She looked the part. Condo, everything. She looked the part.
Right.
But it was hella debt. My bank account was a little heavier. So I kind of helped her out, pulled the debt out, all that stuff. But guess what? Once she fully got rid of those student loans and got that job at Accenture, mm-hmm. that 60-40 completely turned into like a 70-30. And I was cool with that.
Yeah.
And she was cool with it. We were open from the start. When we went into the relationship with a plan. Mm-hmm. And I had to be honest with you, when I saw all the debt, I didn't want to marry her with all that debt. I was like, hey man, let's knock this down. Mm-hmm. I took that on the chin. I took it on the chin. But because I knew it was going to be greater later, which it was. But you can't be entering these relationships, man, talking about, he's not bringing up the rear. He's not bringing up the rear. Not even coming in the middle. Well, ma'am, that's what you married. Mm-hmm. You made that decision. Yeah,
because you have the look. People are like looking at where they are, and they go, "Well, I can change him. We can do this." I'm like, as soon as you say I can change, you need to step back.
One more time, Coach Dee. Bring the trauma in. One more time. I love that.
As soon as you say I can change somebody, you need to step back, because you're not. People will change on their own. Nobody can force anybody to change. And if you try to force somebody to change, they'll do it for a short time, and then they'll go right back to who they are, because that's who they are.
Exactly. I think honestly, you're not doing a relationship any justice when you married into that 40%. Mm-hmm. Then you complaining in year 1 or 2 or whatever it is when you start complaining. That's not even fair to the partner that you married, whether it be male or female. That's what you married. You made that decision. Sit in it and deal with it. Mm-hmm. Until things get better. That's called being adults. That's called adulting.
Exactly. And Martine says it's balance in the union. Sometimes your mate may be in a different place spiritually, emotionally, and they'll need a moment. Now you can't change a person ever. Yeah, that's correct. Right. Yeah, so I tell people, like, when you're looking at things and like people dating and this whole how much who's paying for the date and all this stuff, if you're getting caught up on that at the beginning, then you probably need to step back and rethink why you're dating and everything.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So Flash says, so is it really 50-50 in a relationship or marriage? No, it's not.
It's really not.
No. 50-50. You can do 50-50 money-wise, but even then it's not always 50-50.
But what I will say, Slash, you can come with 100% of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You can come with 100% of yourself to the best of your ability.
Right.
I truly believe that. And that's what happened with Teresa and I. We came to 100% of one another to the best of our ability. And we did well. We did well up until the point that postpartum started kicking in. All hell broke loose from there, but we did well. But when we went in with 100% of ourselves to the best of our ability.
Right.
And that's how you're supposed to approach a situation, man. You don't approach it with, well, what can this person do for me? Now, what can you do for the relationship? Because the relationship supersedes anything.
We have a lot of people who get into relationships because they need somebody for their ego.
Right.
That this person makes me look good, or this person legitimatizes me. You'll see that a lot with.
Right.
I saw a lady whose husband was a street pharmaceutical rep.
Right.
And so he said that she legitimizes him.
Right.
Because she's a very good church girl and all that stuff. 1 second. How can I help you, sir?
We're out of snacks.
Your phone is downstairs underneath the TV, and there's plenty of snacks in the house. Go downstairs and look. Thank you. Sorry.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's called parenting.
Yeah.
So,
we're not out of snacks. We're out of the snacks he's allowed to have because he ate all the ice cream cones.
Oh, good. So think about this, right? When you enter into relationships, do you ever hear someone saying they want what's better for the relationship?
No, they say that I want better. What's better for me?
Exactly. This is where people are doing life wrong. Mm-hmm. Like if I'm going into a relationship, I'm looking for what's the betterment of the relationship.
Right.
And I've had that mindset for years on top of years before I acquired the tools. I wanted to better the relationship because if the relationship is better, that means I'm going to be greater.
Right.
But people don't have that mindset, man. I never understood that. You always should sell yourself out to the relationship, not the person, to the relationship, and make sure that person is sold out as well.
Well, a lot of people realize that as we age, we change. There was one relationship coach, I forget who it was, is that the person that you marry at 30 will become 8 different people by the time they die.
I love it.
And I wish I remember what their name is. But you have to be prepared because that's considered growth. Who you are at 30 is different than who you are at 40.
That's right.
Different than you are at 50 because you have experiences in life and things go on.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, not everybody is going to look the same at 30 and 50. We're going to age. We're not. We're going to be a little wrinkly. Our little cheeks are going to get a little puffier, and And some people can't deal with that. You'll have some people who. What's the joke that Leonardo DiCaprio's date is too old by the time the Emmys are over?
Right.
Yeah.
I know you talk about.
Yeah.
But it's so much greater, man, and better and so rewarding when you witness the growth within yourself. Mm-hmm. Once you see that growth within yourself, man, you're on a whole nother spectrum in life. You're in a whole different plateau in life.
Right.
Once you see that growth within yourself. But when you sell yourself out to the relationship, you become a greater person. So it's not like you selling yourself out to that person, because you have to equally sell yourself out to the relationship to have a wonderful relationship.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people, some people are in relationships with people they don't like. Because maybe it was convenient, maybe it looked good, maybe it worked at the time, but then they end up stuck and can't let go. And it's just because we put too much emphasis on, there's too much religious emphasis on marriage breakdown.
Exactly.
Like, there's a lot of shame involved with it, and it should be just a matter of, it doesn't work out, you move on.
That's it, man. That's it.
Yeah. And Martin says, people usually grow. They may grow apart, or looks change. Being together is not for the weak. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
And you have to think about it. If you're with somebody, and one of the questions I asked them, what would they do if you were disfigured in a horrible accident?
That's one of those 21 questions that I was talking about last week.
Listen, I spent a lot of time in green. I've seen people dump because they've lost a leg or lost their arm or they were injured. And I've seen other relationships where you're like, man, that person has been there since the day they got home from the hospital. They were helping them walk, and you know what I mean?
Right.
So you see two different types, and sometimes that person may look good on paper, but they aren't really good in person.
Exactly. And that's what we talked about when I was talking about last week, or the week before last, about the moral compass, man, about those 21 questions, going on that date, getting that porterhouse steak. You know, it's very important. It should be very important to you guys as well. Where's that moral compass at? Because the way that life is going now, we need to know.
And Slash says, perhaps this is why many are in situationship, seeking links and side pieces, partnerships. Folks aren't working together. Mustafa referred to blinds in an incident with drapes and window dressing. Listen, situationships and sneaking links and side pieces are a whole different conversation. Yeah. That's not a relationship. That's moral character flaw. If you're cheating, if you're running around cheating, that's a whole different thing. We already talked about that causes trauma to people. You don't hurt people you love.
That's true. Yeah. Dig a little deep into that. Let's talk about a little trauma.
What? About hurting people you love?
Yeah, you don't hurt people you love.
Yeah, cheating is very selfish. It's not about anybody else except the person that's doing the cheating and how they feel. Because if they did, because that's rule number one. If you love somebody, you don't hurt them. You wouldn't go out like, I absolutely adore my son. I wouldn't purposely do something intentionally to hurt him.
Absolutely.
Right? I tell him, you may not always accept what I say, but you'll respect what I say.
Exactly.
And that's not about hurting him. It's about raising him up to be a good citizen. But there's so many people that it's about them and seeking external happinesses because there's a void inside. Exactly. That's why people go outside their relationships. Otherwise, they would have the difficult conversation and end the relationship, then move on.
So let's go back to the 100%, okay. Giving up yourself to the best of your ability. Why do you think people fail to go that route when we talk about, percentages in relationships? And I'm talking about 100% of yourself. I'm talking about the wholeness of yourself. I'm talking about giving of yourself. Because if you freely give of yourself, all the monetary stuff going to come along with it. Yeah. Once you actually get to that point within that relationship. But why people have such a hard time giving of 100% of themselves? Wholly and fully.
Well, it depends. Were they raised in love? Or were they, remember I mentioned this last week, were they raised in love or were they raised in survival? So people were raised in
Explain
love.
It to the folks. I know exactly where you're going with it. Explain it to the folks.
All right, so raised in survival, you grew up and there was no affection. There was no sense of love. You felt like you were constantly in abandonment. There was constant trauma. You didn't know if you were eating, where you're sleeping. There's all this stuff that didn't allow you to thrive with love versus somebody who's raised in love who never doubted that their parents loved them, never doubted that they had a support system, never have to worry about like food or anything like that. Like Xavier, he says there's no snacks. There's snacks downstairs. He just has to look for them.
Here's the thing, like for me, right? My situation was quite different coming up as a child, right? My father was a heavy womanizer. It's well documented from the Four Horsemen books and all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. But he was a phenomenal provider. He just loved women. And my mother was loving it. They always told us how much they cared about us, expressed it and showed it and displayed it completely. But I guess I get some of his ways, with the womanizing early on in my days, and that loving and, displaying, compassion from my mother. But there's a true balance with me. But I totally don't get that. I totally don't get that, man. When we're going into these relationships, these business relationship as well, you have to fully go in at 100% of yourself, dedicating yourself 100%. That's just like for you, right? When we talked about the podcast, without even discussing it with you as far as the percentage of what you bring into the party and all this other stuff, you come every single week, 100% of yourself. Sometimes you're here before I'm here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that says a lot about the core of you and who you are as a person.
Yeah.
That moral compass is somewhere moving somewhere.
Well, here's the thing: not everybody's thinks some things are immoral. Let's just put it that way. Some people see that there's no issue. Some people
You
believe
got to
that there's
dig a
no
little
issue
deeper
with
on that
stepping
one.
out.
Dig a little deeper.
Like, it's about what were their values growing up? What were their examples? So if they had
Gotcha.
examples growing up where this was okay or even encouraged, culturally it is encouraged in some cultures. That it's almost expected.
That's true.
So depending on the culture that somebody was raised in, when you come to, I would say, North America, their
Right.
cultural expectations are a little different. So relationships look different. Like, you don't, except for some religious sects, we don't have a lot of arranged marriages unless it's
Right.
culturally from somebody who's gone back to their
Right.
previous culture. So relationships look a little different to some people culturally, and so the whole entanglements and mistresses and side chicks and
Right.
everything look different culturally. So is something that has to be taken into perspective.
See, but what I really don't understand, what I really believe, I personally believe that most people, I'm going to say most people,
Mm-hmm.
they do not understand that 100% of contribution is required from each of them. 100%.
Yeah.
I don't think most people get that.
Well, the old saying is the grass grows where the water grass grows greenest where it's watered.
There it is.
Okay.
There it is.
Let me get back to the comments.
Gotcha.
Here. Yeah. So the folks cannot handle weight gain, health issues from Martine. And she said, Mark, that doesn't apply tonight. When you love somebody, you don't treat them poorly. Slash says, excusez-moi. I'll do it in French. Those are relationships present day. We see more and more with each passing day, even entanglements. I'll go into that about social acceptance of that as well.
Okay.
Martine says, yes, Coach D, when people decide to step out, it costs. It's because they have some deep related issues within themselves, which is true. And
True.
Slash says, some of those types of timing, scheduling relationships will last longer than some marriages. Can the real Mr. Epic please stand up?
Wait, what did he say? What did he say? Slash coming at me?
Some of those types of timing, scheduling relationships are lasting longer than some marriages. Can the real Mr. Epic please stand up? Martine says, a loving, fulfilled person should not pair with a person who is in survival needy mode. Work relationship.
Which relationship was he speaking on?
I'm not sure. Slash says, work relationships, work husbands and wives, business trips, girl trips, vacations. And then Martine says, I take care of you, you take care of me, we take care of each other.
Pretty much. I like that.
Well, actually, I'm going to disagree with the last one. It should be I take care of me, you take care of you, and we take care of each other.
Well, that's true. You're right.
Right?
You're absolutely right. Yeah, you're right.
But there's nothing wrong with girls' trips or boys' trips. Like, if you're in a loving, trusting relationship, there's nothing wrong with the boys going out for a golf trip or the girls going to Miami for the weekend. That's
Right.
healthy. Yeah, if you have to be with somebody 24/7, there's a trauma bond there.
That's the problem. Exactly. That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Let me see. And Martine's right. A loving, fulfilled person. It does say should not pair with a person who's survival or needy mode. Here's the problem. Those usually what happens is because people think they can change somebody, or I can help them, or I can fix them, and then you end up with that whole unbalanced situation.
And that's going into that situation, folks, with rose-colored glasses on. The moment you say, oh, I can look past that, because I've done it. I can look past that. That thing started rearing its ugly head year 2, going into 3.
Oh yeah, because those little annoying quirks at the beginning are going to be very big annoying quirks.
Exactly. Everyone wants to be the adult, but you have to address these issues the moment you see it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Let me tell you something. I walked away from a ton of them. When I see the situation, when I see the issue, I address it right then and there.
Right.
If they can handle it, they'll stay. If they can't, they'll run.
Yeah, because here's the thing. a lot of people have issues with open communication because they've never been exposed to it.
Exactly.
This is why I hate the whole children should be in a child's place, because if you're having conversations or everybody should have an opinion or a view of what's happening in their home.
And you know what? I'm glad you brought that up. It struck a thought here, a memory, rather. My brothers appointed me as the negotiator for my father when it was time for a spanking, right? Mm-hmm. I'm the youngest of four, and they used to call me Big Man.
Right.
So when it was time, my dad would come in, sometimes, he traveled. So when he come in town, my stepmom say, what the boys did, all this other stuff. So, we passed up for a spanking.
Right.
They appointed me because my dad always called me his lawyer at the age of 4. And he allowed me to express myself and tell him why he shouldn't go forward with the spanking. Mm-hmm. And 9 times out of 10, we didn't get those spankings because I held court the entire time. I was speaking for my life.
Yeah, so I have a mini Supreme Court justice myself who can find loopholes and everything.
Exactly. So he allowed me to express myself at a very early. I think that's why I became a writer. Mm-hmm. He allowed me to express myself early on, and to defend my brothers and say, "Hey, listen, if you don't want me to whip them, you need to come in there and speak for them and tell me what really took place."
Yeah. So
sometimes I wouldn't even be involved in it, and he'd bring me in.
Yeah, and that forms your ability to have open communication over difficult conversations. But if you have kids who are constantly silenced, that silencing that's done when they're children continues on into adulthood.
That's right.
And then they say, well, I'm non-confrontational. I'm like, yeah, you can't even ask your boss for a raise. That's not non-confrontational.
Exactly.
That's a communication problem.
But what's so funny, man? Some folks find, at least I find that most folks call me confrontational when they don't like what I'm saying.
Everybody's confrontational when they don't like what's saying.
I'm called arrogant when, you shouldn't say it like that.
Oh, yeah. I'm a smart aleck. I'm a smart aleck. I'm too smart for my own good. I'm aggressive. I'm called the B word. I'm like, please. Yeah. Since I no longer wear green, I rarely curse. If I do, then you have made me angry. And that's never a good thing because I rarely get angry.
That is funny. Looks like we had a couple in there.
Martine says, Slash says, Martine, girl, now you're reading from the book of Mark, referencing the take care of each other. Martine says, many people feel that love conquers all. Oh, that's true, and it doesn't. Martine says, in my opinion, if a child can ask a question that needs to be answered, yeah, it's true. Always answer questions.
Right.
Never tell a child because I said so, because it means nothing.
So it looked like it's out of quarter till. I want to get to this real quick before I forget it. We're going to do 2 things on Wednesday, right?
All right.
I got a text from Martine. She's always sending me. Her and Mark are real good at sending these articles or these things, right? I want to do this one. I think I sent it to you, so we had a conversation about it, but I really want to touch on it. You remember that?
Oh, the one where I said I would go to jail? Is that the one?
Yeah, that's the one right there. So with this one, Martine said, she sent it in it's a picture of a guy and his girlfriend, and he said, she ain't the prettiest, but she's loyal. That's completely disrespectful. Mm-hmm. And I'm a guy. That's completely disrespectful. But when I was looking at this photo and all this stuff, him saying that she's not loyal and all that stuff, right? Oh, she's not the prettiest. I was like, yeah, brother, he probably don't even like himself. He's probably have an issue with himself, and he probably don't even like his own people.
Yeah, I remember. I said that she probably doesn't even like black women because she's a beautiful woman.
Boom. So I want to tackle that one. We could do that one, or we could go into this next one here. What's that?
Let me read the comment from Slash.
Okay, gotcha. So we could go into how many past partners is considered a lot. So we could do both of them on Wednesday.
The only reason people ask about past partnerships is because their ego can't handle if anybody's had more than them, because they don't know, because it means that they can't be considered the best. There's that conversation done.
But you know what's so funny? Yeah, but you know what's so funny? I never want to know. My thing is, it's like I'm always saying to folks, hey, listen, if you want that can of worms open, don't ask. Because I'm going to give you a straight up answer. So I'm not going to ask because I don't want to know. I'm a man, so I know. I don't want to know.
What difference does it matter?
It don't matter. So I don't even want to know. It doesn't even matter.
Men, here's the thing. Because most men do not know enough about the female genitalia, they're not aware that the vagina is a muscle that stretches and goes back into shape. That's why it's able to give birth and not left at
I think this is what we should do today. How many past partners is considered a lot? I think so, because a lot of folks, and I got some numbers coming in with that. Go ahead and get to the comments. I get to the numbers.
Okay, let me get the comments. Slash says, asking that the real Mr. Epic speak truth, 3 power on what I was talking about. Perhaps it's why many are in situationships, sneaking links, and side piece partnerships. Folks aren't about working together.
I totally agree. I agree with him.
And then Slash says, plain Jane 5s versus aftermarket 10s.
Yeah, aftermarket 10s. Yeah. Actually, when he say aftermarket 10s, he talking about that one that was actually hot in high school, but she's a bust now.
Oh, is that it?
That's aftermarket.
Miss Kathy says, "Ooh, a juicy topic." Yes, it is. That is a juicy topic. I can't wait till Wednesday. Martine said he's most likely one who's been teased and taunted because of his looks and feels the need to stomp on others in order to.
Yeah, that's something that personally, that's something that I wouldn't have posted publicly like that. I wouldn't say that at all. Even if I was thinking it, I wouldn't have said it.
It's rude as heck.
It's hella rude. Hella rude. Yeah, but yeah, he probably don't like his own kind, to be honest with you.
No, I tried to. There was lots of commentary online about that picture too that I found. People were not nice. Men and women were not nice. There was very few people who agreed with him and considered that an appropriate comment.
Gotcha.
Slash says, I'm not about buying or leasing a car without a Carfax.
He's been sitting on that for a ton of years. He needs a Carfax.
Oh well, and then, sir, we don't consider people objects.
Well, here's the thing. I'm glad you read his comments. So, females said that they're perceived the threshold for being too promiscuous is 15.2 partners, while men consider 14 the defining number when it comes to promiscuity. I don't believe that. But for me,
it's a double standard. If men do it, they're like the big man. If the woman does it, she's a slut.
Exactly. One of the reasons why I've never asked my partner how many males they've been with, my track record is crazy. So I'm not about to open that can of worms so it can be reciprocated and they ask me the same thing. I'm not about to go through that.
Yeah.
I'm not about to do that. Now, we're not about to have that conversation. No, we're good. We could go to the doctor together. We could take every test that you want to take together. Because I've done that over the years. We go to the doctor together. But no, we're not about to open up these cans right here because some of these people, I don't know these women.
Yeah, because
I'm not about to do that.
Some of these men out here are foolish because they want a virgin who's a freak. Like they don't go. You
can't have it both ways.
You know.
Can't have both ways.
And Martine says he's probably dogs the crap out of her too. I pray that she's seen that pass and left him alone. Now, as far as I saw, they were still together on Instagram anyway. But Instagram can be for looks, so.
Exactly.
Never believe what you see on social media. 95% of it is not true.
So yeah, I think that's the one, man, and then we'll pick up on Mr. I Don't Like Myself after we do this one. How many past partners is considered a lot?
Oh goodness. Yes. Let's do it.
It's gonna be a real good one. So again, like I said, I will never bring that up with.
I'm always curious why people want to know.
I wouldn't care.
Like what in reality, what difference does it make if the number is
It's not gonna change
or
anything.
33?
It's not gonna change anything. It's not gonna change anything. Let me be honest with you. I will feel some type of way if I'm given a number over 5. I'm gonna be honest with you. I would feel some type of way. So I don't even go that way because I don't even want to plant that. I don't want to plant that seed. Why would you want to plant that seed for your relationship?
Yeah, Martine says a lot of guys don't even feel that they even need to take care of themselves. They can be obese and have bad teeth, etc. Slash as a woman wants a man with a future. A man wants a woman without a past. Case in point, only one of them seems to claim to be born again virgins. Only one of the sections. Nobody needs to know anybody's body count. Yeah, you're right. Here's the thing. No, because if I got into it, we'll go over because we'll leave it for next week.
Go ahead. No,
there's a lot of religion involved in it. The whole purity culture, which is creepy as heck. Creepy as heck. Like these purity balls where the dad gives the daughter a ring, it signifies her purity for the future.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like,
let me tell you something about that purity thing, right? As you know, I can actually talk through Genesis to Revelations back and forth. I could recite the Bible verses back and forth, going up and down that Bible. Mm-hmm. But I was the most whoremonger, Jehovah's Witness, Baptist, non-denomination, all that stuff. I don't believe in all that.
Listen, man,
I don't believe in all that.
Listen, there's more deacons messing around with choirs than people like to admit to.
Exactly.
Leave it at that.
And see, that's where the truly flawed are, man. When we pretend and we fake life like that.
Well, here's the thing: people like to talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. So we have a lot of buffet Christians. So they'll talk about this, and that, and I've seen them like have women who've had children with deacons in the church. Outside of marriage, that man was screwing around, and they would stand the woman up and chastise her and leave him alone. I've seen that happen in churches to be like, y'all need to sort yourselves out because there's a lot of hypocrisy.
That's like I had a couple of people throughout my career, my writing career. Mm-hmm. They would ask me, it's like, man, you just put it all out there. You okay with that? I'm like, if not me, who?
Well, people value authenticity.
Like, I mean, this is what it is. This is what I did, and that's what it is. I mean,
it's a lot hard to get caught up if you're not lying too.
There you go.
Nobody can say nothing about you when the truth is already out there. Be like, yeah, well,
there it is. Yeah. And I've been doing this for a number of years, and I haven't been called out once for saying, "Hey, you know what? What he's saying is bullshit." Mm-hmm. They can't because they know it's true. Because some of them actually are timekeepers. They were there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Martine says the main thing is to get tested both parties and see if you're all healthy and keep it pushing. Yep.
Absolutely.
You're the biggest freaks. Yep. I always tell everybody, don't trust nobody because that's your life.
Exactly. Okay? Exactly.
Next week.
Yeah, I do believe in going to the doctor together and we get that paperwork together.
Yeah. Next week we'll have the statistics for STDs because I know they're ridiculous nowadays, especially in the older.
Exactly.
It's I think one of the most the villages in Florida supposedly has the highest per capita STD rate in the country.
Right.
These people are all over 65. You should know better.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I say, man. My recommendation: go to the doctor, hump later.
Mm-hmm. Slash says, let me break it all the way down to its very last compound. Guilt by association is believable. If you hung around snipers, they consider you one also, based on looks, style, and conversations. No. Back in the day, people used to take blood tests before getting married. Well, that was blood tests before getting married to make sure you weren't related.
Hey, I'll share something with Slash here for a second. Yeah. Well, I'll share something about Slash, right? Oh. Slash was always there in the room, backstage and all this stuff. He was there, front center. So he was with a whole bunch of wolves, but everybody looked at Slash like he was one of those wolves. But actually, Slash is one of the most kindest brothers I've ever met. He was never womanized and never. He had access to all that stuff.
He just likes to talk nonsense sometimes.
Yeah, he talks. He just likes talking, but he's never indulged in the stuff that Tim and I and all those guys were in. He wasn't into that.
Yeah, I had some friends who were like trashy trash. You know, and they were very free with their sexuality. Let's just put it that way.
You know, Slash was the one. He was the coattail puller. Like, hey.
Oh really?
Yeah, he pulled the coattail. Hey, let me talk to you for a second. Yeah, so he's a good guy.
It's you know, I always don't do guilt by association because sometimes people can be with people who are just friends and their personalities are completely different, but they still be good friends. So I'm always the guilt by association. I've never been fond of, and I'm like trust people with who they are until they prove otherwise.
Absolutely.
What is it? Absolutely. Martine says there are condoms that are supposed to turn a certain color if there's an STD press. I think it's a little late for that.
Wait, what?
She said there are supposedly condoms that are supposed to turn a certain color if there's an STD present. I'll have that all. I don't know. I'll look that all up for the next week for Wednesday. That's intriguing.
Yeah, it is. What color is it, Martine? Is it green or red or what?
I don't know. Color changing condoms?
Wow.
Because people lie. That is true. Let's see. Xavier said he can't find the snacks. Oh my god.
So what the condom picks up? I mean, what if she have like crabs or something? Does it pick that up?
Condom detects STDs. Oh my god.
So that's a thing?
It is a thing. It's the S.T.I condom can not only help couples practice safe sex, but also change colors to show the presence of STDs. Roses are red, condoms are blue. No, that's not. Please don't tell me that. Roses are red, condoms are blue if you have syphilis.
Oof.
It does. Yep. Wow.
Martine coming through with the research. So we'll talk. We won't spoil it.
It was created by teenagers in London.
Is that right? I'm not surprised.
Wow. Green for chlamydia, yellow for herpes, and blue for syphilis.
Oh, wow.
Look at that. That is scary and amazing at the same time.
It is. So is that available in the States?
I don't know if they're available. They should be. I see on Google Shopping they're $19 a box, so they must be available.
Oh, okay.
Proof Pronto. Oh, there's another one too. What?
Let's save it.
Oh no, that's for finding out somebody's cheating. It's called Semen Spy Deluxe Semen Detection Kit.
Wow. Well, I don't need that.
Child safety and investigation tools. You guys are going to put me down a rabbit hole I probably don't want to be on.
So Wednesday, on the other side of Wednesday, we'll be doing how many past partners is considered a lot. So we're gonna go all the way in on that. Oh, wow. So what's your takeaway?
What was our original topic?
What did you say?
What was the original topic again?
50-50 relationships.
Okay. The original topic is you should give 100% of yourself and listen to the other person in the relationship. And I don't just mean listen to respond, but actively listen to create actions and then have conversations like check-ins to ensure that you guys are both on the same page.
Exactly. My teachable moment is don't go into the relationship looking for the 50. Go into the relationship bringing 100% of yourself fully.
Yeah.
So going in with the 50 thought, you're losing before you start. Yeah. Go and bring yourself 100% fully.
Yeah, if you're focused on the money, you're focused on the wrong thing.
Absolutely. Bingo, that part.
And same thing with dating.
Good stuff. We thank you guys for tuning in, man, to the B2G Unity TV network. We really appreciate you guys tuning in every week with us, and actually for all the past shows and all the good stuff. Get these meditations and all that stuff, and actually the daily quotes now or on b2gunitytv.com under the specials. There's my quotes there, these massages, not massages, sorry. Meditations, all this.
I don't do massage.
Meditation, all the good stuff that's over there as well. Under the demand button, just shop and browse. It's absolutely free. b2gunitytv.com is the spot for all your encouraging needs. Really appreciate it. Tam will be on Tuesday. Should be on Tuesday talking your story with Brother Titus Brown. I think he's out of Arkansas somewhere. He's a good brother. Catch him over there on Facebook. Titus Brown is a great author. He has a wonderful story. So on Tuesday, 7:00, your story with Tammy Gator.
Sounds good.
So until next week, we'll see you guys on Wednesday.
We'll see you Wednesday. Take care, everybody.
Good night.
Conversations with Trent in conjunction with Taylor Kennedy Media and your radio network would like to thank you for calling in and listening to tonight's episode. We hope that tonight's conversation offended you just enough to turn your mirror inward to come back for more. So until next week's conversation, be epic.